PFCizer is a cognitive workout system that will involve a range of games and exercises meant to make your prefrontal cortex run the most it can be. With PFCizer, instead of free weights, we will be employing a range of challenging interpersonal navigations, fun self-assessments, and various innovative incentives to get that prefrontal cortex so swole like never before. Choose your name and let's begin. D Vance. Okay, step in front of this mirror for today's exercise. Oh, Mr. Vance, it seems your role in the current federal administration qualifies you for a free workforce development intensive. This is a special program that the Department of Labor has been spearheading, leveraging the PFCizer technology to develop novel reasonable accommodations for folk with any conditions regarding the prefrontal cortex, especially if the client has or will be taking on roles that immediately benefit from emotional regulation, attunement to neurologically diverse social environments, and simulating team members to pre-emptively identify opportunities for support, etc. We just need to administer this battery of exercises to see where you would most benefit from this new suite of pro-social exercises. First, an entry point in the form of this statement, which has no wrong answers. Complete the form. You will know me, D Vance, by the dates I remember. Excellent. PFCizer system recognizes your input, a robust social ledger, a high-fidelity record of interpersonal exchanges, assets granted, and slides incurred. This demonstrates a strong native framework for what we call reciprocity tracking, a core executive function. A mind that keeps a tight record like this is an engine ready to be tuned. The raw strength is there. Senator Vance, let's just make sure it's a full-body workout and not just, endless bicep curls. Focusing solely on the reciprocity framework can lead to the overdevelopment of certain social cognitive muscles, like loyalty to one in-group and grievance consolidation, while atrophying others, like a flexible theory of mind or spontaneous coalitional reevaluation. Your intake response indicates you have a natural strength in what we'll call reactive engagement based on established history. It's a foundational skill. Today's workout, then, will target a complementary muscle group, proactive stakeholder support independent of prior data. Think of it as a brand new lift, a little awkward at first, but it targets those deep stabilizing muscles of community cohesion. Okay, here's a simulation for you. It says the holographic array will generate your colleague, Charlene, from the Congressional Budget Office. She looks, a bit stressed. She's approaching you now. PFCizer's shimmer, a horrid-looking woman in a sensible blazer appears before you. Senator Vance, goodness, sorry to bother you. I know you're swamped. Listen, my subcommittee is a complete loggerhead choosing a default font for interagency reports for the next fiscal year. Typography isn't my strong suit. I'm stuck between Garamond and a rock place. I remember you mentioning you were a man who appreciated classics, so I wondered if I could just borrow 30 seconds of your gut instinct? Okay, Mr. Vance, before you respond, a notification pings on your PFCizer display. System log. Charlene ZBO has no outstanding debt to you, positive or negative. The ledger is neutral. Cross-reference file 81B indicates Charlene did use Helvetica bold, unitalicized, in a memo header just last week that contradicted one of your office's early projections. Your amygdala response monitor shows a minor slight subconscious slide detection. 68% probability. Cognitive model. Charlene is outside your immediate sphere of legislative allies. A poor reciprocity tracking model would categorize her request as low priority with a negative heuristic overlay, the Helvetica incident. Here are your options. What a great chance to isolate and fire up those specific neurons. Engage reciprocity baseline. Charlene, I do remember classics. I also remembered that memo from last week. With respect, you seem to have a preference for modern styles that I'd consider artless. I suspect my advice wouldn't align with your committee's sensibilities. Times New Roman. See target area. Establish neural pathway. Confirms existing bias. Consolidate in group/out-group delineation. Provides predictable, low-energy social result. Be practice coalitional flexing. Tough spot, Charlene.
Garamond is elegant but can have readability issues on certain low-resolution monitors in some agency departments.
Helvetica. While Blunt is utilitarian, have you folks considered something like Georgia, designed for the screen from the ground up? Clear, bit of classic feel. Tell you what, send me the draft proposal. I have a staffer who lives for this stuff. She could give you a whole breakdown. PFC target area, ventrolateral prefrontal cortex for behavioral adjustment and decoupling impulse from a past negative stimulus. Generates a social capital deposit with no expectation of immediate withdrawal. See to provide this engagement. My apologies, Charlene. I just don't have the bandwidth. I'll make a note to circle back when my own priorities are secured. PFC target area, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. A simple threat avoidance maneuver. Energy sparing but isolates the subject and provides zero growth stimulus for social integration pathways. Let's go with B! Excellent choice, Senator Vance. BEEP, boo. Your PFCizer monitor flashes a confirmation. Cognitive form assessment, superb. Amygdala override protocol, engaged. Historical Helvetica incident logged and compartmentalized successfully. Theory of mind module activated. User accurately simulated a colleague's practical needs screen readability over a simple aesthetic preference debate. You feel that right here in the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex. It's a nice little cognitive burn. By bypassing the simple reciprocity calculation, what has this person done for me? And the reflexive amygdala response, this person slighted me once you instead performed a more complex operation. Spontaneous coalition building. It was a low-cost, high-yield investment. You built a bridge to a functional, apolitical part of the CBO. Well done. Let's put a little more weight on the bar for our next exercise. Okay, now let's up the difficulty. Imagine a context shifting from the neutral CBO corridor to the more energetically charged environment of the Senate canteen. Look over there. The holographic array fizzes and reshapes into a different individual approaching your table. He's smiling broadly, but your internal PFCizer threat detection meter flags a 1. Too spite in social coded insincerity. This is Senator Billingsworth, a well-known weather vane from a neighboring state. His political positions often shift a mirror prevailing poll data. The system log notes he has publicly downplayed the importance of your signature American Heartland Manufacturing Initiative in the past, but voted for it on final passage. Your reciprocity ledger on him is, let's just call it Maggie. He cites a tray onto your table. J.D. Just the man. Heard great things about your work on the workforce development program. In fact, that's what I wanted to talk about. My state is bidding to land the new consolidated microchip fabrication plant. A huge jobs win. I was thinking of drafting a supportive op-ed praising administration initiatives like yours, teeing up how ready my state workforce is for just this kind of thing. It'd be great for you, for me, for America. He pauses, swinging some questionable-looking chili onto his cracker. I figure an early note of public support from the initiative's chief advocate. A quote from my press release would really show how unified the vision is. All right, Senator Vance, the ask has been made. PFCizer is parsing the variables. System log. Billingsworth offers an immediate positive action praising your initiative in exchange for a future positive action, your public support. A simple reciprocal transaction on its face. Threat analysis projects a 72% probability that his praise for your initiative will be context dependent and could be easily retracted or rephrased if the plan goes elsewhere. E-support is soft. Yours would be hard, and on the record. Stakeholder modeling predicts your support could tip the scales for a state, alienating two other potential states for the project, both of whom have offered your office stronger, more reliable support on unrelated matters. This exercise is multivariable social forecasting. It requires you to weigh immediate gratification against long-term strategic integrity. What's your move? Engage pure reciprocity. I always appreciate the supportive colleague, Senator. You get me a draft op-ed, give it the proper glowing review of the Heartland Initiative, and I'll get you a quote by the end of the day. A deal's a deal. PFC target area. Striatum, the immediate reward processing center. A fast, easy path that feels good but ignores deeper variables and potential long-term risk. Be practice protective reticence. Thanks, but no thanks, Senator. I seem to recall you weren't my biggest fan when the initiative was just starting out. I need to be careful with who I lend my name to. You see, target area, your established strength. Reactive engagement based on established history. Again, this works the bicep of grievance but doesn't expand your cognitive toolkit. It prevents potential downside and offers no potential upside. See apply second order consequence simulation. Senator, great to hear you now seeing the value in what we're building.
That fabricator plant is a golden goose for whoever lands it.
Tell you what. My endorsement is powerful, and I can't play favorites, especially this early. It has to go to the place with the most rock-solid bit. Help me see how your state's bid is so undeniable that supporting you becomes the most logical choice for anyone looking at the facts. Show me the data. PFC target area, medial prefrontal cortex. This is the heavy lift. You're processing not just the request, but the motives behind the request, the timeline of future possibilities, and the reactions of invisible third parties. It definitely puts the onus of proof on him while keeping you in the powerful position of fair arbiter rather than transactional crony or spurned rival. Obviously, we gotta go with C. Outstanding execution. A classic non-answer answer that resets the power dynamic perfectly. The PFCizers line up like a Christmas tree. Ping. Performance log updated. Cognitive form assessment. Exemplary. Impulse deferment fees. Immediate reward. Mastered. Short-term validation successfully sidelined in favor of long-term strategic positioning. Third-party actor simulation. Executed. You kept the absent stakeholders, the other states, in your mental calculus. Reputation management algorithm deployed. Shifted user perception from transactional partner to merit-based arbiter. A yield result. That, Senator Vance, was an advanced cognitive lift. It's the PFCizer equivalent of a deadlift with perfect form. You didn't just accept or reject a social bid, you challenged its underlying premise and forced your counterpart to engage on your frame of evidence and logic, not his frame of favors and flattery. You engaged those deep, stabilizing cognitive muscles in the medial PFC that are crucial for high-level political navigation. Magnificent. The lactate buildup in those neuronal pathways can be intense after a set like that. So, for our final stage today, we're going to move into a cool-down exercise. This one is less about real-time navigation and more about foundational narrative framing. It's called the motive articulation. After today's meetings and workout, you are heading home. An intern from a campus newspaper, fresh-faced and utterly earnest, catches you in the hallway. No guile, just pure curiosity. She says, Senator Vance, you entered this program with the intake line. You will know me. Other debts I remember. Some people might see that as keeping score, a bit transactional. Sir, why is the principle of remember dead? What people owe you and what you owe them, so fundamental to your worldview. How should we understand it? This isn't about winning a negotiation. It's about coherently articulating your core social operating system. We need you to bridge that powerful, but perhaps harsh, internal principle into a public-facing justification that fosters trust, not just compliance. Based on the flexibility and pro-social adjustments you've demonstrated in today's session, how do you synthesize your core principle for this rookie journalist? Complete the statement below. Journalist, how should we understand that principle? D Vance, that's a fair question. You see, when I talk about debts, it's not about money or petty favors. It's about remembering. Now you fill in the rest. Translate the raw data of reciprocity tracking me to the human language of connection, duty, and community. Fuck. Open-ended question. The folk whose actions matched their initial words, and the folk for whom actions and words were ever at odds. It's asking the spirit of discernment to be the guiding hand that determines the partnerships that compound in value, and the ones that just drain one's energy in a way our nation doesn't need. Bravo. The PFCizer's console hums, displaying a full spectrum analysis. It flashes green across every metric before settling on the main screen. Pain. Session analysis complete. Final assessment. Cognitive form assessment. Peak performance. Peak competency demonstrated. Narrative principle synthesis. This, Senator Vance, is the whole point of the workout. The intake, you will know me by the debts I remember, is a powerful internal operating system. It's the raw iron of your cognitive gym, but left in its raw state, it can be heavy, abrasive, and difficult for others to grasp. What you just did was masterful. You forged that raw iron into a tool. You didn't abandon the principle, you translated it. Initial frame internal, a scorekeeping system based on personal ledger debt/credit, potentially perceived as vengeful or transactional. Synthesize frame public, integrity detection system based on verifiable patterns, words/actions, perceived as discerning, prudent, and dedicated to valuable partnerships. Let's break down the superb final lift. Depersonalization. You brilliantly shifted the focus from what someone did to me to a general principle of matching words to actions. It becomes a noble, impartial standard, not a personal list of grievances. Effect relabeling. You took the hot emotion of remembered debt and relabeled it with the cool, admirable language of discernment. This is a cornerstone of high-level emotional regulation. Pro-social justification. Most crucially, you tied your personal heuristic to a national good. Partnerships that compound in value versus those that drain one's energy in a way our nation doesn't need. You made your personal yardstick into a patriotic tool for efficiency and growth. When you came in here, your PFC showed immense raw strength in a very specific, well-developed area. A reciprocity engine polished to a mirror shine. Through this short battery of exercises, you've already demonstrated elite-level capacity to integrate that core strength with flexibility, long-term strategizing, and compelling pro-social articulation. This confirms the initial diagnosis. You're a prime candidate for the workforce development intensive. The strength is there, the potential is undeniable. We'll simply work on ensuring the whole machine, from raw grievance to empathetic articulation, from ledger keeping to coalition building, operates in an integrated, fluid motion. Congratulations, Senator Vance. The mirror shimmers and clears. The evaluation is complete. You are ready to begin.